start. Let me just back up and tell you. So I actually had 2 coming outs. I came out in Durham when I was about 18. I had been involved with the church. I did not grow up in a religious family at all. I won't say at all. My grandmother was religious, and I think her father, either her father or her grandfather, was a minister. So, but she was the only religious person in my family. My parents are not religious to this day, or not. So I wasn't brought up very heavily religious. I had some Mormons that were neighbors, and so they took me to church within the Church of Jesus of Latter-day Saints. And so I had a spiritual understanding through the neighbors. I liked the kind of, and because they were Mormon, they were, I guess, cliquey and stayed together. So I liked that sense of community that offered. So then I pretty quickly knew that I was gay. And that was not something that I wanted at all. I remember my youngest, probably when it came to me, I was probably prepubescent, and I knew that I had an attraction to other guys. At one point, I remember thinking that I was half male and half female. I truly believed that my breasts were going to grow like a woman's. I knew I had a penis. I loved my penis. That was not a problem for me. But now looking back, I was probably going into puberty, and men have a little tenderness in their breasts, but I didn't know that. No one ever told me that. So I thought my breasts were going to grow. And I actually remember telling my best friend, I was at a movie theater, and I said, I've got a secret to tell you, and you can't tell anyone. I said, I'm growing breasts, and I think I am half man and half woman. But he went immediately to school and told everybody that. So that was horrible.
How old were you then?
I was definitely like prepubescent, but probably on the edge of it. So
like middle school?
Like 12,
oh.
11, 12. I was a late bloomer. Yes, I would say middle school, because that was hard. Middle school was a torturous time for me.
So what was it like to go to school then? What did people say after that?
That was horrible. That was when bullying started to really kind of happen. It always happened a bit. I remember 6th grade being bullied a lot. And usually by the same bunch of guys, which interesting. I would love to go back now and know what I know now. Mm-hmm. They would be the ones probably trying to get blowjobs in the bathroom or something. But anyway, it was a horrible, horrible, because I was a effeminate kid. I was skinny and small. And so, yeah, that was not a good time in my life.
Did you feel like you could go home and talk to somebody about that stuff?
Absolutely not, at all. Just the opposite. I felt like I needed to hide that from my family. Because my dad's thing, when he would hear about the bullying, is like, you've got to fight them. Well, I was scared to death to fight them. I wasn't going to. I would lose and get hurt. So I would keep that a secret so that I wouldn't be pushed to respond. So really the bus rides were the hardest. Those were horrible. But anyway, so I gravitated to religion on my own because, and as I look back now, I feel like it was really driven by my sexuality, and I felt like that was so big, I needed something bigger than my sexuality. And the only thing that I knew of that would be bigger than my sexuality would be God, that could take that away. So I kind of gravitated toward religion on my own, got involved with the church. This was probably high school at this point. Because even at that point, I started to use drugs, mainly smoke pot, a little bit of LSD, nothing chronic. So then, and I was friends with this one guy who got saved, and then looking back, I was madly in love with him. He was my first crush. I didn't even know that at the time, but I knew that I loved him. He was definitely not gay. But I think I was like someone that he could talk to, Jesus about. So anyway, we started going to church, blah, blah, blah. Then I came out. I was 18. I remember walking. I had a girlfriend, first girl I ever had sex with at 16. And so I was probably 17. No, because I had to be old enough to get in the gay bar. I was 18. Was walking up to, it was a youth group thing at somebody's house at the church. And I heard a couple of the guys call me faggot. And I remember thinking, you know what? They're probably right. Everybody my whole life has called me a faggot. I really must be one. And so I might as well just embrace that. And it was at that time, I remember I was walking with Peggy. I turned around and I said goodbye. And I got in my car and I went to the gay bar and went into the gay bar for the first time. And the only reason I knew about the gay bar is I had volunteered at this call center. It was called Hassel House, run by some students at Duke University. And I was a volunteer. And there was this drag queen that called on a regular basis. But she told me all about the gay bar, or I wouldn't have even known about it. And she's like, that's where I go to be with my people, and I can be a woman there, and blah, blah, blah. And of course, she told me where it was. And, obviously in hindsight, I was now getting just as much information from her as I was helping her deal with her issues with her family. So I knew where to go. And I walked in the gay bar. I was young and cute, and I remember when I walked in, I just left a place where someone called me a faggot, and I walked into the thing, and I heard one of the guys behind the thing, oh my God, let him in, he is cute. And I'm like, this is where I'm going to be. And I basically bolted out of the closet and moved in within a week to what we call the Homo Hilton, which was the guy who owned the bar and a lot of the employees. And a whole world opened up to me. I got a boyfriend immediately right away in the home. That's how I moved into the home. And he taught me gay lingo. He taught me about the language, how to dress, and a whole world opened up. I didn't know that gay people had a language of their own. And